Hello, people watching vehicle reviews on the internet. Welcome to this Toyota GR Supra with a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, I've already reviewed a couple of these new Supras, but today I'm gonna get this up in the air. We're just gonna focus on the differences with the manual transmission, and then we're gonna take it out on the road and give it the beans. It's a blooper. Out back, there is only one major difference with the manual transmission equipped GR Supras, and that is in the rear differential. While both utilize a Torsen LSD, the automatics have a 3.15 final drive ratio, whereas the manuals, it's a 3.46. All Supras come with a 5-arm multi-link rear suspension, all steel in construction with the exception of the rear knuckle that is aluminum. It's paired with a set of BMW branded adaptive dampers. Rear anti-sway bar measures in at approximately, this is a hard one to measure, 18 millimeter in diameter. Both automatic and manual transmission Supras utilize the same exhaust system with an electronic baffle on the passenger side to open it up and make it louder, and you have dual piping all the way up to your center resonator. And just in case you weren't wondering, the rear piping dual portion measures in at outside diameter of 69, which is 2 3/4 SAE. Well, I mean, it's oval, so I can't even really give you a good answer on this. 78 millimeter, which is about 3 inch. Now, the big question I wanted to know with this car was, do you save any weight with the manual transmission over the automatic? And comparing premium model versus premium model, the automatic weighs in at 3,411 pounds, with the manual being 3,389 pounds, a weight savings of 22 pounds. Now, as far as that manual transmission goes, it is still manufactured by ZF, just like the 8-speed auto and the automatic Supras. However, this is the ZF S6-53, which is a 6-speed manual transmission with an auto rev match feature you can disable, as well as this is rated for a maximum torque input of 600 Newton meters, which is 443 pound-feet. Rear transmission crossmember is aluminum, and it has 2 bushings on either side of the tail section. Up front, you have a McPherson strut style suspension, all of which is constructed out of aluminum, as well as the sump guard here. That's nice. Again, with those BMW branded adaptive dampers. Front anti-sway bar measures in at 23 millimeter. Somebody took this thing off-road. It's covered in mud. Time for the braking test. No one behind me except for all my stuff. Ready? Okay, whoa! A lot of ABS feedback, that's for sure. Good short stopping distance. A lot of pedal feedback though, but it was good short stopping distance. Sorry, it took a second for my brain to think what was happening. It's getting sloshed around too much in the skull. That braking was just accomplished thanks to a 4-piston monoblock caliper and a 348 millimeter or 13.7 inch front rotor. These wheels, they are also forged, and they are a 19x9 wrapped in a 255/35 Michelin Pilot Super. Why is it so hard to say Super Sport? Super Sport tire. High five. Like, how could you leave that adorable little face hanging? Out back, you have a single piston floating caliper with a 345 millimeter or 13.6 inch rotor. The wheels are staggered wider in the rear at 19x10 with a 275/35 Michelin Pilot Super Sport tire. In the name of science, I am now going to give this thing the beans. Bolstering assessment. Excellent. Top marks for bolstering. The seats are comfortable and the bolstering is good, but I would like to see an optional set of Recaros in here. And the seats are heated. Is that a button? No, it looks like a button. Oh, it's a light, maybe? I don't know. Obviously, they had to revise the center console here for the manual transmission shifter, and the shifter itself It's nice. The throw isn't too far. It's notchy. There's no complaints here whatsoever. Has the little GR logo in the center and a little pearlescent finish to match the dash trim. Pedal placement's not bad. For my size feet, it's just a little bit wide of spacing between each pedal, but it's still good. It's easy to heel toe with. And as far as drive modes go, you have normal, individual, and sport. Go into configure individual, and then you can adjust your dampening, your steering, your engine, and then gear shift assist. This is your auto rev match downshift feature, which I have disabled, and I will leave it as such. Well, is that an actual button? It is a button to zero out your tripometer. That's kind of old school. I like that. There's multiple modes for the traction control. You can tap it once, and it says traction mode activated, or you can hold it down and fully defeat everything. I'm gonna keep everything disabled on mine and see what this thing can do. Ready? Get it! Oh, this thing's fun with a manual. That's good. So much fun. On paper, it's not as fast, but I didn't really notice it. I mean, maybe a little. Hood pop. It's a huge hood. Wow. Good job on the underhood paint, Toyota. That's nice. Underneath the hood of the 2023 Toyota GR Supra is BMW's B58 B3001, which is an all aluminum closed deck block dual overhead cam single twin scroll turbocharged 3-liter straight six that produces 382 horsepower from 5,800 to 6,500 RPM and 367 pound-feet of torque from 1,800 to 5,000 RPM. Being that it is a BMW engine, it has that little canter off to the passenger side. Everything is constructed out of plastic to help with heat soak, valve cover, intake manifold, charge pipe, and intake. As far as a deep dive on this engine goes, there's really no point in me elaborating on it because there's a great video up above to Papadakis Racing's channel where he tore apart one of these engines when these cars first came out. So if you guys really want a deep dive on it, I suggest checking that out. But just over the basics, this thing has a 10.2 to 1 compression ratio with an 82 by 94.6 millimeter bore and stroke. And this does employ Toyota's D4S direct injection system, as well as it has variable valve timing on both intake and exhaust cams. Today's video is sponsored by me, because if you wish you had a Toyota Supra of your own, just so happens I'm giving away one right here. It's a 1982 Toyota Celica Supra, the grandpa of this A90 behind me, and the link is in the video description below on where you can enter a chance to win this car. It's as good as you would think if you've never driven a Supra with a manual before and you want to. It's as good as you'd think. The number one thing that stood out to me the most though is even though this thing has a 3.4 final drive ratio compared to the 3.1, it's still got long gears. Like first gear, I haven't really tested it exactly, but it's somewhere well over 40 miles per hour. I personally would be interested to see how this would be with a 3.9 or maybe a 3.7 final drive ratio. I know it probably wouldn't be any faster, but it would be fun. Now handling wise, as you know already, the Supra is a phenomenal handling car. The manual transmission doesn't change any of that. It's the right size for a sports car. It's really about the same size as the GR86. The funny thing is though, I still would take a GR86 over the Supra. I mean, this is a much faster car and arguably it's better looking. I don't know, the increased power and speed of the Supra doesn't allure me as much as the driving dynamics of the GR86. Now the real question is, which is better, this or the new Z? And that is a really tough question. The new Z is appealing to me because I feel like you're gonna see a lot less of them as you do the new Supra. As far as which is a better car, a lot of people will argue they don't like the fact that this is part BMW, mostly BMW. I don't see why, because BMW makes fantastic driving machines. The Z was a lot of fun to drive. It felt more raw and visceral than this thing does. And the manual transmission in that car, Manual versus manual, that's a tough one. I don't know which car I'd choose. I really liked the new Z. If I was choosing an automatic versus an automatic version, definitely I'd choose the Supra over the Z, no contest. The ZF that's in the Supra is by far leaps and bounds better than the automatic you get in the new Z, and I haven't even driven it. Now, something that Toyota did just add is the hairpin plus function, which essentially just makes the robots a little bit more playful on uphill hairpin turns, which I don't have to demonstrate, so there's that. They also made some revisions to the traction and stability control systems to make the car less prone to snap oversteer, which I didn't really feel that was a major issue. Maybe it's because I own an MR2. So I did notice that the manual transmission does make this car's ass end a little bit more playful, as you should expect, but I also noticed it, maybe it's just me, under late braking, it kind of gets a little shifty, which is fun. If I had to pick apart anything about this car that I don't like, and it's this steering wheel. I'm not feeling it. It's massive in the center by the airbag portion, and this is weird area down here. I feel it could have been designed a little better. Also, the infotainment system. The infotainment screen itself is all right, but I wish Toyota would put their own software on it just to make you actually feel like you're more in a Toyota vehicle. I do like the little physical buttons though, 1 through 8 across the dash for your station memory. That's kind of neat. I like that Toyota stayed on brand and gave it a JBL sound system instead of what the BMW would have came with. Also, the infotainment controls just feel a little out of place way over here on the other side of the shifter. Using the touchscreen ability, the menu system is fairly easy to navigate. That's a plus. The options to leave your parking lights on for the left or the right is a dead giveaway. It's a BMW. I don't know why I never noticed this before, but the mirror on the passenger side visor is so tiny. It's adorable. The spare change fax machine has a lid to keep your cell phone from flying out when you cook pennies. Storage wise, with the manual Supra, it's yep, it's still the same. Little subwoofer boys right there. Sounds good. Stereo sounds good in this thing. My number one complaint with these that they still haven't really addressed is there's no physical button outside to pop the hatch. You got to do it from inside here on the door. Also, another issue is the wind buffeting, which I never talk about when I review Supras. I mean, it's not bad doing this speed, but anything over 40 miles an hour, it starts to get kind of noisy in here. Fuel economy on the manual transmission Supra takes a little bit of a hit over the automatic, but I would argue that's also largely on the driver. Driver makes a massive difference if you know how to hypermile or not. I mean, you could roll around with all the cracks taped up and fold the mirrors in. Probably get good gas mileage. One thing I'm definitely looking forward for though is to see what Toyota does to answer for Nissan's new Nismo Z. It is now time to give this thing some scores, starting with the coveted bean assessment, the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And the 2023 GR Supra, the manual transmission, gets a rating of... It's fucking hot out here. Next is the cookie score, the assessment of value, and this, as equipped in the mid-50s, gets a rating of, followed by the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance, and manual transmission Supra gets a rating of, followed by the squid score, the assessment of handling capabilities, and it gets a rating of, and lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and as to no surprise, the manual Supra is getting a rating of, I mean, I loved the automatic version. And yes, I would take the manual over the automatic. See you soon with another video. Bye.